Hello, my name is John and today on Mono Story we're going to be talking about is Isekai over? So let's get into it and find out what it's all about. Currently, there has been a news report that has stated a company known as Kadokawa, which is a producer of manga and light novels, has recently reported they have lost over 50% of their total revenue. And this has been caused by producing new IP, specifically Naruke and Isekai. And the big question is this going to be the end or a slowdown of Isekai in future anime or manga? In order to understand why they may be losing money recently from their Isekai endeavors, the first thing we need to understand is what is an Isekai, and it is a story about an individual, whether they are living or have been deleted, and they are taken to another world, generally through a portal or a being that allows them to go to this other world, or in the case of deletion, the very famous Truck-kun. These worlds are typically fantasy-driven worlds, so there's a lot of medieval aspects to them, whether it be swords, magic, or princesses and kings, as well as a lot of different villains that accompany in this world, such as mythical creatures, or goblins, or demons, and other things around that nature. And these people that have been transported to another world are generally considered to be the hero in that world, given very strong or unique abilities that most of the other people in the land cannot utilize, and their goal is generally to either lead the people or defeat the enemy that is causing harm upon the people, and therefore stopping the calamities in that world. Now, there are some rare cases where this is not the actual objective of the story, and we have a case like this known as Konosuba, where it is mostly similar, where they are trying to get stronger and defeat enemies, but there are also generally a lot of comical elements to the story, and some episodes actually have a different objective within them that does not actually work to the objective of a general isekai. The reason this has happened is because in the past, isekai were very unique. You had such very beautiful series that captivated audiences because of their unique premises, and people wanted to be these characters such as Sword Art Online, Re:Zero, Log Horizon, Shield Hero. However, now there is lots more isekai being produced with titles that are so long it is very hard to understand or pronounce them. And because of this, some of them are just downright bad, and nobody would want to be in that position if they were even isekai'd. Stories such as being reincarnated as a vending machine, sword, or being transported to another world with my smartphone. These stories do not cater to anybody's fantasy. Therefore, they are more of a liability than a opportunity to make money, because they are often very repetitive, lack the fundamental basics of a very good story, and just a waste of time. Now, the real big positive of this situation is that Kadokawa may say enough is enough of this isekai slop. Let's start looking at making something better. So they may start looking at some of their other IPs that they are mass producing. And what I would like them to do is to take that isekai money and put it into something that is really important, and that is Gundam. Gundam has been around for nearly 50 years. As of 2026, they recently released a video with the road to 50 years. So we are heading in at least another 3 years, it will be 50 years in 2029. Now, why is Kadokawa so important to Gundam is that mostly all of their manga is being produced by Kadokawa. There are a few manga for Gundam that are not being produced by Kadokawa, rather Big Comics or another publishing company, but for the most part, Kadokawa is producing most of the Gundam manga. And if they were to take that money that they were using for isekais, they might be able to have a chat with Sunrise and be like, hey Sunrise, we got a manga coming out in a few months. Let's start looking at making an anime that may not be the same story, might be able to help us sell this new manga that is coming out. as right now in the Gundam sphere, we are having a lot of spin-offs being produced. So other than Gundam G-Quax, that is related to the Universal Century timeline. However, other stories that have recently been produced have no relation to this, such as Gundam Seed Freedom or Witch from Mercury. So these stories, though they are still in the Gundam universe, are not a part of the Universal Century timeline. And so I would like them to at least bring some of the manga that is involved in the Gundam Universal Century timeline into an anime. And I mean, you probably heard already some of these, like Char's Deleted Affairs, Crossbone Gundam, from 0123 after F91, we're left in the dark up to Gundam V. And on top of that, I'd like to see Gundam Dust. And even there's a new one being produced after Gundam Dust called Gundam Zero Iba that takes us even further than 150 years. I'd like to see that eventually be made into an anime. So there is a lot of new stories out there that need to be in an anime to continue on the continuity of Gundam. But I'd also like them to do a lot of the older anime and redo them with the Kadokawa manga that has been produced, because there are some new elements to the story that change it completely, and I still want the older stories to exist alongside these newer stories. So an example would be 0079, just update the animation maybe and add in a little story at the end, because we do get in the Gundam manga for 0079 a manga at the end that shows us the lives of the people on the White Base and how their lives are going. Another story I'd like to see is Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory. There's an element in that story where we get Gato and Nina and how they actually have a love interest with each other. And that is only said right at the end. So at the end of the story, you're like, where'd this come from? But in the Gundam manga for 0083 Stardust Memory, there is actually a lot of backstory that explains this relationship. So I love that also to be animated using the Kadokawa manga, improving the story and animation as a whole. And recently they are now even making Gundam Zeta Define, and I'd like that to be made into an anime as well. And to top it all off, Gundam Double Z needs to be made into a manga. I am still waiting for Kadokawa to make that into a manga. The way that Haman Khan was deleted in Double Zeta was absolutely disgusting, because she was not able to be utilized effectively as a character, deleting her whole entire character and basically making her look like this weak as individual. This would bring Gundam to a new generation who would be able to understand the Universal Century a lot better without all of these different issues, whether it be missing content in 0079 in regards to Char's backstory. It would be also not missing the Nina Gato love story. It would also show us more of Core, if we're talking 0083, and his training and becoming a Gundam pilot. So there's just so many stories that I haven't even mentioned that could be made into an anime, as well as new stories that could be produced by Kadokawa in the Gundam universe that would make it even more interesting and create more depth and history to the story. Isekai is oversaturated. There is too many boring isekais being produced. The titles are often very long, and the concepts or ideas of them are very boring and repetitive, and they have lost that magic spark they once had. Because of this, Kadokawa is now losing money because of these isekai series that are not returning any form of revenue. Taking that money that they would have put into isekais and putting it into a series like Gundam would not only potentially bring Kadokawa back into profit, but also be able to see maybe a new anime being produced, as well as improve sales in Gunpla, which would be a very beneficial thing for Sunrise. So it'd be very beneficial for Kadokawa if they were to be making new Gundam manga. However, that is my thoughts on the Isekai situation in regards to Kadokawa and how they are losing revenue. However, I want to hear what you think about this situation. Do you think it's a good thing that Isekai is losing money, or is it a bad thing, and why? So please write that down in the comment section below. My name is John from Manga Story. If you haven't already, like, subscribed, and press the bell button, please do so. If you want to watch another video, click up above. If not, until next time, I will see you on another Mono Story.